An accessibility overlay is a piece of software that gives website visitors a bunch of accessibility settings. It's a simple add-on that claims to give users all the control they need to make their browsing experience better. To implement this, web developers simply drop a line of code into their website build and, hey presto, that website is now accessible. Apparently. Everybody loves quick and easy solutions. Diet pills and hair loss shampoos are still popular despite their questionable efficacy. So when overlays sell themselves on the idea of being quick and easy, whose plight are they speaking to? Are we really thinking about the users who depend on accessibility, or the convenience of those looking to implement it? Hey, maybe it's not that bad. Maybe we found a quick fix solution that actually works. If overlays do make websites more accessible, don't the ends justify the means? Let's start with the big one. Quite often with web accessibility, the goal is to comply with the WCAG and ADA standards. WCAG is the Web Content Accessibility Guidelines, a resource for making websites accessible, and if you're in the public sector in the EU or the UK, a legal requirement. The ADA is the Americans with Disabilities Act, which is a broad federal law that protects people with disabilities. Now, despite what you may have heard, overlays don't comply with either of these. There are countless criteria that overlays don't address, such as mobile compatibility and PDF documents, but even the issues they do address are unreliable. Take for example the settings for reducing motion. Ideally, websites should apply the CSS media query prefers reduced motion where needed to honour the users who have that preference enabled on their system. Sadly, overlays don't implement this. Instead, they attempt to freeze everything themselves, but this can produce more harmful results. I invite you to try this on websites that have a lot of motion and an overlay and see what the effects are. Another problem is when overlays attempt to generate things like headings and alternative text automatically. With alternative text, a machine might be smart enough to identify the contents of an image.
Image, men in a boat.
What it won't provide is the context.
Image, George Washington crosses the Delaware River in 1766.
Do you see how that last one is more informative? Compliance means making sure that users are not deprived of any information due to how they access the content. With overlays, you simply can't guarantee they can do this. Okay, so they're not compliant, but do they actually help people? Well, a survey from accessibility group WebAIM says that most disabled users don't find overlays very effective. In fact, this sentiment is widespread across accessibility spaces. There's even an open letter signed by accessibility advocates opposing the use of overlays. And they're not just targeting a single one. There are lots of overlays out there, and visiting a website is rolling the dice on which you'll encounter. But that's another problem. The user has to navigate to the overlay menu and apply their preferred settings every single time. If you've ever been annoyed with cookie pop-ups, you can imagine this process to be not just frustrating, but physically exhausting. More complexity means less accessibility. Now you might be thinking, so overlays aren't perfect. Surely they're better than nothing? Are you ready for this next one? You already have these options in your operating system. I'm not kidding. Zooming into the page, you can do that with your keyboard. Larger text? Every operating system lets you do this. Cursor size? Here's the thing. Users who depend on these features will already have them enabled, and overlays will try to overwrite them with their own settings. It would be like walking into a supermarket and a member of staff takes away your iPhone and replaces it with an Android phone, or vice versa if you use Android. Now you're fumbling with a new device, and the establishment itself has not been made any more accessible. A practice like this may not be helpful, but it is performative. Websites wear accessibility overlays like a badge of honor to show the world how much they care about accessibility. Overlay providers are aware of this and will sometimes include it as part of their pitch. Now, why would a website ever seek to improve if it believes it's done everything it needs? This complacency is dangerous. Overlays don't solve everything, and even what they claim to solve doesn't always work. As mentioned before, reduced motion settings can have unreliable results, and even something simple like changing the text size can make the website totally unreadable because overlays don't reformat the page. This comes down to our final point. Overlays might call themselves a code-free solution, but their main selling point is exactly why you shouldn't use them. The underlying code is what makes or breaks a website. It makes it mobile-friendly. It makes it work with assistive technology. It makes it functional. Accessibility is all about functionality, which is why websites need to be developed with accessibility in mind, not as an afterthought. Overlays are an afterthought. They create problems, they resell features that everyone already has, and they don't make websites compliant. So, do they even work? Accessibility groups and influencers have been outspoken about the overlay problem. Even more broader publications have shed light on the issue, and yet websites still use them. While companies think they're saving money by supporting them, it's the users who are paying the price. You don't need to be preached to about the importance of accessibility. We just need to agree on a solution that works for everyone, and this means listening to what the community is saying. Web accessibility is complicated. This means it requires some work, but it's work that ensures that no internet user is left behind.